In this presentation, we're going to record the receipt of an inventory item that we requested with a purchase order. In other words, in the past, we created a purchase order to request an inventory item. Now we're going to create the bill after having received that inventory item with the help of the purchase order to populate that bill. Here we go with Xero. Here we are in the Get Great Guitars dashboard. We're going to be opening up the trial balance this time. Let's go ahead and go to our accounting and go on down to the trial balance. We'll change the date up top to February. So we're going to go on over to February 2020. There's 29 days in it, by the way. And then we're going to duplicate the tab up top. Go on to the tab up top, right click on it, and we will duplicate that tab. So we're going to have the trial balance to the right. We're going to be entering the data in the left. Now let's take a look at our flow chart. So if we go on over to QuickBooks Desktop, just to consider the flow chart, you'll recall last time we entered two purchase orders. One purchase order from a customer that came in and requested something. We didn't have it, so we had a new vendor named Fender that we're going to order that guitar from. The second purchase order, we simply ordered the guitars to put them in the shop. No transaction happened at that time. Now we're imagining at this point in time, those guitars have shown up with the bill at this point. Therefore, we need to put the bill in the system, meaning we need to owe the vendor at this point because we have the guitars. And two, we need to put the inventory on the books. So that's what we'll do with a bill at this time. So let's go over to the first tab. Well, we can think about what's going to happen here in terms of the trial balance. We know that the payable is going to go up when this happens. So we're going to have a liability for the accounts payable that should be increasing. We don't have any payable now because there's nothing in it. And then the other side should be the inventory, which is going to be an asset account, should be going up. All right, let's go back to the first tab then. We're then going to go back to the dashboard. I'm going to go to that section for the bills and the purchase orders. I'm going to look for that purchase orders. There's a couple ways you can do this, by the way. You could enter a bill like we saw in the first month and enter the bill directly, and you'll have a pop-up basically saying, hey, there's a purchase order related to this particular vendor. Or you could go down here to the bills you need to pay and look for the purchase order, which is on the bottom, bills on top, purchase order on the bottom. I kind of like this way better because you're more directly going into the purchase order and you see these items for them that are unapplied. So here's the unapplied purchase orders that are we want to move over to the items that have been billed at this point in time. So one way to do that is we can go into this one. I'm going to go to the Fender item. So we're going to go into the Fender invoice. I'm going to into the Fender purchase order, and then we're going to be creating a bill from it. I'm going to hold down Control and go up a little bit to the 125 so we can see it a bit more. We're going to go to the options, and then I'm going to copy it over. We have the options to copy this over to a bill, another purchase order, or an invoice. We're going to go to the bill now, and then this particular one we did create for a customer. We will use the same information to create an invoice as well at a later time. Right now, we're going to create the bill, mark this purchase order as fully billed. So what this is going to do is it's going to take it out of the unbilled area and push it over to the billed area automatically as we do this. So we're going to say, yes, we want that to be done. So we're going to keep that check mark ticked off, and then we're going to create the draft. So we're going to create the draft. This now creating a bill from that purchase order information. It pulls over the Squire guitar just as we wanted it to, so everything looks good there. I'm going to hold down Control, scroll down a little bit so we can see the total. And it's from vendor. We're just going to change the date now. So the date we want to have, let's say 2/14, we're going to put on the date. And so that looks good. And then I'll say it's going to be due then on 3/14. So we'll keep that, and everything else looks good on it. So what's this going to do? It's going to be increasing the accounts payable, and it's going to be increasing the inventory. Let's check it out. We're going to approve this. We're going to then go on back to the trial balance. Once we're there, we're going to update this report because we only like working with those fresh and updated reports. And then we're going to go down and check out the accounts payable now appears. So now the accounts payable is there. It wasn't there before because it has that 168 in it. So there's the accounts payable. The other side is going to be going into the inventory. Here's the inventory. If we go into the inventory by clicking on it and scrolling down, then we should see this item in February. And it looks like I put it in there in January. It should have gone in February. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can change the date. So I'm going to update this. I'm going to go into this item, see if we can change the date on it. So I'm going to adjust it by going to the bill options up top, and then I'm going to edit this item. And then I'm going to change the date up here from January to February, because we're in February now. February 14th, that's what we want. And then it's due in March. All right, let's try that. And then we're going to update this and see what happens to it. We'll go then back into the trial balance. I'm going to have to go back into it by going to the accounting drop down, going on down to the trial balance, changing the date up top to February now. So we're going to go to February 29th and update that report. Now let's go back into the inventory item and see if it's down at the bottom there in the February area. Scrolling down, we have, there it is, the 168. So that was good times. Let's go ahead and do it again. I'm going to go back. So we're going to go back to the trial balance. Then I'm going to go to the first tab and we're going to do this process again. So I'm going to go back up top. We could go back in the cookie trail right here to the purchases overview section, which will include both the bills section and the purchase orders. So then I'm going to go to the purchase orders over here that have been approved and go into the purchase orders. And now you'll note that that one that we had two in here before, now we only have one. The one we just approved has been pushed over to the build section now. So that's in the build section. We're over here in the approved purchase order section, where we're going to do the same process to the second one here for Epiphone. So we can do that same process within here. We can create it in this format. Let's do this one the other way as well. So I'm going to go up top this way and I'm going to go into a bill, and this is going to be for Epiphone. I'm going to type in the vendor then up top for Epiphone, which is going to be Epiphone. And there it is. And if I select tab, or I select that vendor, then we get this pop-up saying, hey, there's a purchase order number 0004 is outstanding. Do you want to copy it? And we're going to say, yeah, that's a good idea. We're going to copy that. And as we do so, we would like you to mark it as billed within the purchase order section to move it over from the unbilled approved purchase order to the approved area. So we're going to say, yes, please do that too. That would be great. We would highly appreciate that. And then we're going to be changing the date up top, and the date's now going to be to the 14th. So the date is at the 14th. Here's going to be the item. It pulled everything over for us correctly once again. What's going to happen when we approve this? It's going to be increasing the accounts payable by that 1,200 as well as the inventory asset. Let's check it out. Approving this item. See if it gives me any kind of error or funny message up top. It does. It said an error, due date. I didn't put the due date again. We're going to put this out to March, and then we'll try it again, see if I missed anything this time. I think I got it. I'm pretty confident. This time it's been approved. I knew it. Back to the trial balance. We're going to be updating the trial balance then, and just check out that this second one has been processed through as we know it should be. We then see the accounts payable should be going up. That's going to be in the liabilities section down here somewhere. There it is. Going into that liability, going into that accounts payable, it should be increasing. Scrolling back down, we're going to see that increase with 1,200. Back up top, if we go to the other side being in the inventory, the asset type of account. So here's the inventory. If we go on into the inventory, we will then see the other side of it happening here. There's the 1,200. I'm going to go back to the trial balance. Also, just note, I won't go into them now because we've seen them before, but this does affect the inventory account, which would be then tracked by an asset, the inventory valuation report that we'd want to see the types of inventories that we have purchased, which we have on the books now because the inventory account is going up. The inventory items should then be going up. We could track them by item. Also, the accounts payable, we need more detail on it. Who do we owe? We can run another kind of report that will give us that same AR or AP accounts payable number by vendor. That's it for now. Let's go to the beach.